Before diving into this incredible story, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, every story has something to say, and you won't want to miss a single one. In a state-of-the-art Chicago clinic, Linda Matthews, a nurse renowned for her efficiency, but also for her quiet disdain for certain individuals, was about to experience a moment she would never forget. That morning, a pregnant black woman, Angela Johnson, entered the waiting room. Her face betrayed fatigue and worry, but above all, the pain of an advanced pregnancy. As soon as Linda caught sight of Angela, she looked away and continued working as if she didn't exist. Minutes passed. Angela was suffering, calling out timidly, asking for information, and nothing. No response. Linda's contempt was palpable, almost suffocating. It was then that Marcus Johnson, Angela's husband and a high-ranking military officer, entered to escort her. Observing the scene, he frowned. Linda's icy silence in the face of his wife put him on alert. He stepped forward calmly, but with a natural authority that commanded respect. "Excuse me, Mrs. Matthews, my wife needs immediate assistance," he said in a firm but controlled voice. Linda's face paled instantly. She knew this man. He was no ordinary patient. Marcus Johnson, decorated for his service to the country, a name that resonated throughout the hospital for his dedication and integrity. In an instant, the contempt and arrogance that had guided Linda transformed into silent panic. The seconds seemed to stretch into infinity. She realized she had just behaved unacceptably in front of someone who could easily question her career, and much more. That day, Linda understood that ignorance and racism can be very costly, and that moral authority is not measured by title or uniform, but by the courage and respect one commands around oneself. The waiting room was silent, broken only by the low hum of the monitors and the rustling of the nurses' uniforms. Angela Johnson, her hands resting on her rounded belly, tried to calm the pain that rose in waves. Each ring, each footstep in the corridor, increased her anxiety. Linda Matthews, the nurse on duty, had spotted her as soon as she arrived. Instead of approaching, she looked away and consulted her files with exaggerated thoroughness, as if the pregnant woman didn't exist. Angela tried to get her attention. "Excuse me. I need help, please." No reaction. The tone rose slightly. "Please. I'm full term, I'm having strong contractions." Linda sighed, without looking up. The neglect was blatant, almost humiliating. Angela felt a mixture of anger and fear, but tried to remain calm. That's when Marcus Johnson entered. He looked calm, but his natural authority emanated from him. He had heard his wife's call from the hallway. He observed the scene, the contempt on Linda's face, and his jaw tightened slightly. "Mrs. Matthews, I would ask you to attend to my wife immediately." The nurse's face paled. Marcus Johnson was not a stranger. His military decorations, his respected name throughout the hospital, all of this made Linda understand that she had just crossed a dangerous line. She stammered, searching for her words. I'll take care of it." Angela, relieved that at least someone was intervening, let Marcus guide her to an examination room. But the unease in Linda's eyes hadn't disappeared. Fear and guilt mingled with her past arrogance, leaving her bewildered. Marcus, seeing his wife's distress, placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder and whispered, "Everything will be fine, stay calm." But in his mind, he knew that beyond this room, Linda's carelessness would not go unnoticed. This day would leave its mark, and the lesson would be memorable. A few minutes after Marcus led Angela into the examination room, Linda Matthews tried to compose herself. She was attending to the other patients, but her mind was elsewhere. Every movement seemed mechanical, every glance from her colleagues silently reminded her of her unacceptable behavior. Marcus, for his part, wasn't about to let this oversight go unpunished. He went to the administration office, asking to speak to Dr. Helen Carter, the clinic's director. He calmly but firmly explained what had just happened. "My wife was ignored while she was about to give birth." The nurse deliberately refused to assist her. Dr. Carter frowned, alarmed by the seriousness of the situation. She had known Linda for years, and even if she was competent, accusations of racism or negligence could have serious consequences. Meanwhile, Angela lay on the bed, surrounded by Marcus and another nurse who had been called in to help. The pain was still there, but her heart calmed at the sight of Marcus by her side. He held her hand, whispering words of encouragement, reminding her that she wasn't alone. When Linda finally entered to assist Angela, her demeanor was no longer the same. Fear of reprisal, shame, and guilt had overwhelmed her. Her usual smile had vanished, replaced by visible nervousness. Her gestures, though professional, were shaky. She knew that this time, she wouldn't escape scrutiny of her conduct. After the birth, Marcus asked to see the incident report. Management took the matter very seriously. Disciplinary action was being considered, and Linda understood that her career, reputation, and even professional credibility were at stake. At that precise moment, she realized that her racism and contempt had had an immediate price. The lesson had just begun, and she could not ignore it. The next morning, Linda Matthews arrived at work with palpable tension. Every step in the corridor reminded her of yesterday's incident. The looks from her colleagues, some sympathetic, others surprised, weighed on her like invisible burdens. She knew she would have to answer for her actions. Dr. Helen Carter was waiting for her in her office. Without preamble, she broached the subject. "Linda, I am extremely disappointed by your behavior towards Mrs. Johnson yesterday. Ignoring a patient in labor is unacceptable. And your attitude was perceived as discriminatory." Linda tried to answer, stammering. I didn't want to. I didn't think." But Dr. Carter interrupted him. "Your intentions do not excuse your actions. You must understand that this type of behavior has real consequences, both for your patients and for yourself." A few hours later, Marcus Johnson arrived at the clinic to make sure Angela and the baby were okay. To his surprise, he ran into Linda in the hallway. The moment was charged with tension. Linda, unable to meet his gaze, looked down. Marcus, in a calm but firm voice, said to her, "Yesterday, you forgot your duty as a caregiver. Today, you have the opportunity to do better, to show who you really are." Those words resonated within her. For the first time, she felt the depth of her mistakes. Racism, negligence, contempt, none of it could be ignored any longer. She understood that it wasn't just her career that was at stake, but her very dignity. This confrontation marked a turning point. Linda realized that superficial apologies wouldn't suffice. She would have to reflect, change, and make amends, otherwise the consequences of her behavior would follow her everywhere. A few days later, Linda Matthews was assigned other duties, but the incident with Angela Johnson did not leave her. Every time she passed near the delivery room or saw a newborn, the memory of her own negligence struck her intensely. Dr. Carter summoned her again. This time, his tone was less harsh but still firm. "Linda, you have a chance to redeem yourself. Your behavior will be monitored, and you must demonstrate that you can be a trustworthy nurse for all your patients, without exception." Linda nodded, fully aware that this opportunity was invaluable. She began to change her approach, treating each patient with respect, care, and compassion. Her colleagues quickly noticed the difference. Her initial nervousness gave way to genuine seriousness and a willingness to correct her mistakes. One morning, Angela and Marcus returned for a follow-up visit. Linda recognized them immediately. Her heart sank, and she stepped forward, this time with humility. "Ms. Johnson, I wish to apologize for yesterday. You should have received immediate assistance, and I deeply regret my behavior." Angela watched Linda for a moment, then smiled gently. "Thank you for your apology. What matters now is that you understand and that you are acting differently." Marcus nodded, recognizing the sincerity in the nurse's voice. This small gesture of reconciliation sealed the end of a painful but necessary episode. Linda then understood that respect and humanity are not optional in her profession, they are essential. This experience profoundly transformed her. She never forgot this lesson: ignorance and racism can be very costly, but but the courage to admit one's mistakes and change can fix everything. And as Angela and her baby left the clinic, Linda stayed there, meditating on this simple but powerful truth, aware that every patient deserves dignity and care, without exception.